Filthy minds.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.
Welcome back to Is There Any Money In? I'm Ed Cavalier.
Jeez, we're gonna.
Bryce Wren, how are you both?
Good.
Good. How
Listen,
are you?
No, never better. Today, I'm doing Is There Any Money in Jesus?
Huge.
Yes. Next episode.
Thank you so much for asking. And let's start out of 10. What do we think? 1 being there's no money in it, 10 there's heaps. What do we think?
10.
There has never been a better money spinner in the history of Earth than this.
All right, well, you two need this because this house of sin just only cares about money. This is finally you two are going to get some what you desperately need, which is some spirituality.
Have you seen the Vatican? They've got more gold than we do.
How dare you? They got that legally? I want to say legally. Ready? Let's have a game. Who is the largest landowner in the world? Hint, Husey is 5th. Who is the largest landowner in the world?
Catholic
The
Church.
Catholic Church.
He's incorrect. It is King Charles,
Oh.
Oh, really?
head of the Church of England. So technically a church
Hey,
leader. And
okay.
second is our friends at the Catholic Church.
Yeah. Have you seen the Mormon Church?
The Tabernacle in Salt Lake City.
They've got a $100 billion fund.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that all? Lame. In Sydney, where we are, in the east of Sydney, the land on which 2 Christian, quote, based schools, loosely these days, was recently valued at,
8 billion?
well done,
What? What are the schools?
the grounds of 3 schools, wasn't it?
I thought it was less.
2 schools, but I think they included one of them, which is a bit further down the road in Rose Bay.
Right.
The boys/girls school.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. So if they just
Did you say
sold
8
that.
billion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's
It's ridiculous.
like Lux Listings wish they had that joint. What about if I was being a pastor? What if I'm a Christian pastor? Is there any money in that?
Oh, there's a joke there for spaghetti or tortellini, but
Is there? I don't know if there is.
is there money in it? I don't think
Right,
there's.
so
I don't think there's a lot.
I reckon you'd be getting like a $65,000 a year salary and the house that's
All
connected to the
expenses.
church. Yeah. No, you're not getting food and stuff from the church.
If you live on campus.
Live on campus. There's wine and there's really thin bread, but not much of that you're going to get. Righto, let's play Guess the Wealth.
Wait, hold on. Were we right?
You're wrong. There's heaps.
Oh.
If you're in the top...
Like a mega church
Thank
pastor.
you. If
Yeah,
you're in the
okay.
top 20
I was thinking-
online pastors. That's why I didn't say
okay.
priest.
Sure.
I said pastor.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I've seen a doco on the extreme wealth that some of them pump out with their private jets. And
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's play. See if you two can guess the wealth. I've got 2 clips from YouTube Shorts of 2 pastors who are in the top 20 net worth as told by the internet. Let's hear the first. And you've got to tell me, one of these is valued at $2.5 million and the other bloke is valued at $300 million.
Oh, wow.
So just based off their Jesus gear on the internet, can you tell the difference between who is good and who is not? Right, let's hear the first one.
This lady came to the well beaten down, unworthy, thinking that she would always be looked down on, defeated. But she left that day with a new passion, a new self-image. She saw herself as valuable, redeemed, forgiven. She ran back and told the whole town to come see this man, Jesus. They all flooded out to see him. She didn't just get changed, but she changed her city. Now she was no longer looked down on, she had respect. She was no longer broken, unworthy, she felt valuable. She knew she was a child of the Most High God.
Okay, that's pastor number 1.
Okay.
All right, so it's either $2.5 million or $300 million net worth. Let's hear pastor number 2.
One godly, spirit-filled, faithful friend changes your whole life. The best way to find that friend is to be that friend. And so here we meet Elisha. He enters the scene. And sometimes everything changes when the person who's filled with the Holy Spirit and loves the Lord shows up. Like, life changes. It's a world filled with horrible people, but here's one great man of God. That makes all the difference. You don't need a lot of friends. You just need 1 or 2 that really love the Lord. It's not about how many, but about how deep.
He's the 300 mil.
Yeah,
you can't-
trick question.
He's,
What do you mean?
He's
That-
300.
That, my friends, was Mark Driscoll, net worth $2.5 million.
Oh, well, yeah.
The first gentleman we heard, Kenneth Copeland, worth 300 mil. That makes sense?
I thought he was a much better speaker.
The first guy or the second guy?
First guy.
Yep, that was actually a trick question because that was, in fact, Joel Ornstein, who's only worth 100 mil.
Right.
What's he even doing?
So, yes, there's money.
Big
Yeah.
money.
And it's hard to tell the difference between the material.
But it's not about how well you preach. It's about how hard you sell the merch afterwards, isn't it?
It's a bit of both because Mark Driscoll, he was fired from the megachurch that he helped create called the Mars Hill Church. The only thing that churches provide more revenue for than themselves is podcasts. For every megachurch that takes a dive, there are 900 podcasts about what happened to that megachurch, including our friends at, I'm not going to do Hillsong today, because there are currently 900 podcasts about Hillsong and 900 documentaries about Hillsong. I got no interest in that, right? What I will play you is the ad that's playing before the most popular Hillsong, What's Going Wrong at Hillsong podcast. Here we go.
Go on a sexy splurge at Sexyland this end of financial year. Grab up to 70% off Australia's biggest range of adult toys, couples games, lingerie and sexual wellness products. Sexyland, something real sexy.
You're kidding.
Dildos and Jesus.
I mean, it kind of fits because the ungodly heathens that are listening to a podcast degrading Hillsong are the same ones that are going there.
Have you ever seen such a perfect binary opposition? We got a podcast that has a go at Hillsong. Have I got the dildo show for you? Let's move on to Preachers and Sneakers, the best Instagram account that there is,
No
which
way.
just tells you the amount of how much the outfits of preachers costs. They take
No way.
screenshots,
That's
look up the
epic.
clothes, and then put it on the Preachers and Sneakers. So, Preachers and Sneakers. They had a pastor called Guillermo Maldonado, and there he is with his sneakers. And those sneakers, my friends, you'll know them as well as I do, as the $1,000 Prada sneakers.
Yeah.
This Instagram account is epic.
This
It's
is-
everything. This is everything to me. And here is the only thing I'll do. Pastor Luna at the from the Hillsong conference. So this was a screenshot from a live broadcast. Look at that. You like that hoodie? You like that hoodie, you guys? You like that? You got hoodies? How much for an Equity Mates hoodie?
Not as much as whatever they're selling them
$50
for.
or something?
Hillsong.
60?
Oh,
Equitymates.com/shop.
Well, you're undercharging because at the Hillsong conference, this Louis Vuitton one on this pastor cost $1,600.
Wow.
Wow.
So I'm going to go and preach today. I know what I wear. I'll wear my
Louis Vuitton.
$1,600
Yeah.
hoodie.
Talking about,
unbelievable.
Jesus saying it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God than for a camel to pass through in the eye of a needle in a
more like it.
$1,600 hoodie.
This is more like it. We should say, as one of the gentlemen from Hillsong is very keen to tell us, none of these people have taken a vow of poverty. I believe Hillsong has taken a vow of tax avoidance. Allegedly.
Well, there's a whole conversation about that.
What? We are in the wrong business, gentlemen.
Yes.
If this was the Church of Equity Mates, we would be in a gold room right now. This would be a solid gold room. And all you've got to do is every now and again say, and Elijah said, go forth and buy Amazon. And we
Hold on.
Yeah, not
Hey, look at these two. That's the most quiet you've ever been.
I'm just biting my tongue because I think there's a much bigger conversation about hoarding wealth and tax avoidance. And there's probably a middle ground where if you want to fund your good works in that year, you don't pay tax. But if you want to store that wealth, you pay tax on it.
Yeah, and that is the same. Everyone has that burden. So why don't they?
Yeah.
It is crazy. Anyway, they do this thing called first fruits. Have you heard this? This is one of Hillsong's best ones, where they're up there and they go, listen, there's this thing called first fruits in the Bible, and he'll read a bit out. And I go, that's when you give 10% of your income to the church?
Like tithing.
Yeah, like who would that be? Oh, that'd be me. Coolies. Jesus is pumped. Anyway, I've got to go. I've just seen a hoodie I like. So that's there. Okay, let's go to retail. Let's link two of my favorite previous topics, music and movies, which I've done on this,
Yes.
and now linking them to Jesus. Is there any money in Jesus movies or Jesus music?
Massive music industry.
Yeah, Hillsong. I know you don't want to talk about Hillsong, but they pioneered that.
Absolutely.
They were amazing.
Amazing.
Credit where credit's due.
What about the movies, though? You think
Never seen one
see,
other
there
than-
you go. Hang on.
Other than,
There is if we're shouting out epic Instagram and TikTok accounts, there is a TikTok account that all it does is give recaps of Christian movies.
That's funny.
It is like the best social media account I've ever seen. It is hilarious.
That's funny.
I can't remember what it is, but I'll give it to our producer Sasha and get it to include it in the show notes.
All right.
Never seen one. Passion of the Christ, that's the only one.
Massively profitable. It's often in the list of most profitable films of all time. And before Mel Gibson had his troubles, it was insanely popular. And did you guys ever see it?
Yeah.
No.
You didn't, yeah. For a movie where
we know what happens.
That's what I mean. For a movie where you know the ending,
Yeah.
it was pretty effective.
Yeah.
You're like, geez, that guy really
Pretty
suffered.
intense,
Yeah,
yeah.
it really had he really
Tough time.
Really copped it. You heard it here first. Can I please hear a bit of I Can Only Imagine, the Christian single?
I can only imagine when that day comes and I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine when all I would do is forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus?
That'll do. You guess where it goes from there. Okay. So that guy who wrote that song, his next single was WAP.
What?
I'm joking. Oh. So, all right. So that...
I never know how these music credits go.
What? Anyway, that is the best-selling Christian single of all time, selling 2.5 million copies. It's the only song in the genre to go double platinum. Normally, they're on the compilation albums. They don't normally chart, but they get people in. Justin Bieber will come and do a guest spot. You get the idea. Right. Here's where it gets really clever. The song goes crazy, goes off. So then in 2018, they base a movie on just the lyrics of that song for a Christian audience. Very, very cheap to make, and it brings in, friends,
50 mil.
$90
Wow.
million.
Wow.
Plus the 2.5 million. This is a tight
Which-
ecosystem.
Who
friends.
is this a church that owns all that?
Well, this
Or
is
like-
where it gets very interesting.
Like, does the singer cop that?
Well, the singer obviously helped write the script. I cannot find any financial even speculation about the Christian film companies that make these movies. It is one of the darkest. I'm looking. All right, what if I tricked? What about the producer? What if I go to this?
It'd just be the church, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
it would be a subsidiary of the church for the tax benefits.
I don't know if you. I think that might be a bridge too far, even for them.
You reckon?
Where it's hard to claim film that makes
Educational.
90. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's a narrative.
So is the
If anyone
Bible.
knows, please let us know. If you're there and you can leak it, let me know. Because it was and that's what told me something was up. Because it's the first time there is no financial information about a film that came out publicly and made $90 million.
You have made films before. Have you ever thought about pivoting into Christian
I
films?
could do it, of course. I'd like to do it from Mary Magdalene's point of view. So they had good reason not to let Joseph and Mary into that in. Yeah, we're all cool with that.
Because she cheated on him.
Thank you so much. And it was a tax collection issue. He was meant to be there a day beforehand. Come on, mate, get your act together, all right? It's tax time. You guys understand that. It was air and there he is wandering in on a donkey, days late. There are no rooms, bro. What do you want from me?
Yeah,
you should have booked ahead.
He said, if this is a tax collection issue, I am going to spend the next 2,000 years of my descendants avoiding tax.
That's so true. That's a great point. The song, which remains the best-selling Christian of all time, also stands stands, how's this, as the 5th highest grossing music biopic ever in the United States. Only behind Rocket Man, Walk the Line, Bohemian Rhapsody.
What?
That's how big this was as a biopic, as a musical biopic.
I would love to know the geographic spread of like where the 90 million came from. Like,
Well, I thought you'd do that, yes.
Yeah, mainly
in
the
God-fearing
US?
areas.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, no, that's US.
and then mainly the south of the US.
Well, that also is not available, but they would argue, how dare you? Sure, you're inner city heathen types, but as soon as you get out in the suburbs, we're on. Because the fastest growing, where were the fastest growing amount of mega churches in the 1990s in America? You're never going to get it.
Suburban Los Angeles.
Oh, geez, you are close. Because the fastest growing region was Orange County. And so that's where they went.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of the great innovators who started running courses on how to open mega churches opened the first ever.
There's a course on how to open a
There
mega
is.
church.
Yep. There is most certainly is the first ever, one of his big innovations, drive-through church.
No way.
Yep.
Americans love staying in their
Drive
cars.
through church.
Yes.
What, you sit in the car park in your car?
Yeah.
No, not drive through, drive in, isn't it?
Yeah, drive-through and in. So
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
drive through,
yeah.
get a quick blessing. Oh, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned. Oh, no, that's Catholic. What'd you do? Well, they're in the trunk. Put it that way. No worries, you're good. Off you go. Or drive in, listen, cool, drive home. Don't even have to get out. Lord doesn't want you to get out of the car.
Wow.
Okay, so estimated total of earnings for mega churches in America last year. Just in the United States.
Wow,
Estimated
okay.
earnings.
Oh, well over a billion.
Yeah, well over a bill.
Ready?
Yeah.
Once again, no estimates available.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Really?
That doesn't surprise
Because
me.
declared revenue is nout.
Yeah. If you don't pay tax, how are you getting that
okay.
information?
Thank you so much. And also, why are we declaring our revenue?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if we do,
we're in trouble.
then they're going to have to do it as well.
Yeah.
Let's all agree not to worry about it, shall we?
Yeah.
Shit.
It is.
Such a good.
It is the,
so good.
every time I look something up, I was like, genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
Actually, they probably do have to report as like a charity.
Well,
I just googled estimated earnings Hillsong, and the first link said $232,000. Like, are you kidding?
but
me?
that's what ends up happening. It's zero, or we give it all back.
Yeah,
So there was
true,
one
true.
website that said, I don't like doing this. They're saying because it's estimated. You know, I don't like estimated. I don't like saying that. So heavy caveats. All right, I'll say it because it was the only one I could find. They said that from 17 million Christians visiting church or their official websites regularly, they reckon about $75 billion last year.
Wow.
But that's based on nothing
Yeah.
concrete.
Oh,
But
they've-
what other industry, let me ask you two, what other industry with no information, apart from drugs, can you estimate $75 billion worth of revenue a year? Is there any... It's completely alone.
I was going to make a joke about like defense or war, but actually there's heaps of information
Yeah.
on that. That's a lot more.
I've even asked ChatGPT. They can't.
Oh,
it
yeah.
can't
Here
even
we
say.
go.
Well, usually it'll make up something. It hasn't given a single figure, but gave me 5 paragraphs.
And what does it say? There's nothing.
Nothing. It just says they typically have congregations of this size and
Okay,
come from multiple sources.
Let's go to the Mormons. Because that's a smaller denomination by any standard metric, right? Estimated of the portfolio, so land, stuff they own, apps, they're big in, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but they're big in technology in the parts of the Utah and the people who are attached to it. Okay, estimated portfolio as it stands from last year.
The Mormons.
Yeah.
Well, we know that they have that $100 billion secret portfolio that got leaked.
That is the one that they're going from.
Yeah.
$100 billion from whistleblowers. And do you
Yeah.
reckon those whistleblowers have access to the whole...
Yeah, I know. No, it's crazy.
So what other industry can you have $100 billion that no one can tell you where it is, who it is, what it is? What other industry is that? So just in those two things, we're close. If you add up the other Catholic Church, $30 billion that they're estimating, we're close to $200 billion of mystery assets and revenue without land and current assets. It's incredible.
It is. It's nuts.
Well, that's the thing with Scientology as well. the numbers are declining so much. Am I jumping ahead?
No, please do it. Yes.
The numbers are declining so much, but their asset value is rising so much. And because they're tax exempt as well, that's just like an extra free kick.
Yes.
And there will be a world where it's only David Miscavige left one day.
Yeah, so
and he's got a massive portfolio.
Yeah, talking to himself.
Yeah.
So the Hollywood, if you've ever been to LA, the Celebrity Centre by itself is huge and staggering. And they do this great thing where if you're a stand-up comic, they have this venue attached to the side of it. And they put on comedy nights. And every time people go there who don't know the way, this happened to a mate of mine, you go there and you do a show and the crowd's there and they're loving it, but they're loving it too much. And then he's like, this is so odd. And then someone goes, oh, did you fall for that? That's a Scientology gig because it's around some other. And apparently their followers told to go, laugh it up. Maybe we can recruit this young comic. And if he makes it or she makes it, then they're already indoctrinated into the system.
It's unbelievable.
Wow.
So how to think that they would sully something as pure as comedy.
Honestly, if they all make a concerted effort to listen to our podcast, I'm open to it.
Oh, so am I. Yeah. Oh, yeah, please, sign me up. Under 40,000, they say worldwide for Scientologists. They, of course, say that it's growing and it's tens of millions and tens of millions. But that is the interesting place. At what point do assets become worth more than all folks involved, and what do you do?
Well, so they're just farming off all the proceeds to themselves, right?
Whistleblowers allege that the enrichment of the top few at the top is on a, quote, ungodly scale. And that's across the board. Once I started doing this, I was like, oh, and here's the article about, and they're enriching themselves. But, right, let's say you just go to a service. You feel good from it. You feel better. You've got a spiritual life that you think is being fulfilled. And you've paid some money for that. What's the difference? What's the difference between that and paying for anything else that's a subscription in your life that makes you feel good?
There's no difference from that point of view.
That's what I mean.
The difference is the other side.
The difference is every other subscription in your life
Pays tax. Yeah.
Like
Apple.
Yeah, but you know they
like Google, like Netflix, like Amazon.
At least they
at least
are in a system that pays tax.
The Irish tax system, the Irish double Irish tax system.
If we want to talk
thanks goodness corporate America is keeping us holy.
If we want to talk about like a 15% global minimum tax and stuff like that, that's a conversation we'd love to have.
Yeah,
but we'd love to apply it to religious organisations as well.
I'm not saying I disagree, but I'm saying I'm not saying I disagree, but I'm saying that it gets real murky real quick when every device in our pockets and the ones we're using right now, those companies aren't exactly Captain Tax and will do anything they can to get out of it. Like Kerry Packer said, why would I pay more tax than I have to?
Yeah.
He said it to them. That was the best day ever.
But they're doing it within the rules in which they can do it.
There you go.
Like
they're doing it. It's inside the lines.
So are the religious.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's
everyone's playing by the
BS.
rules. The rules are just fucked.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
Well, I think we've danced around this perfectly. Can I leave you with two? So let's go. Where are we now? After we've heard these figures, where are we?
It's for me. It's still.
Is it 10. Less or more after you've heard this?
Well, I think there's
more
no doubt
areas?
that
I feel like there's more areas that we've discussed. The films, the music, the individuality of can I get a $1,700 hoodie? Yeah, no worries.
I think I'm
off to preach.
Yeah.
That's great. That's where the rubber hits the road for me. I'm like, come on. How much money have you got if that's a Bible?
What I'd love to know is like personally, like what does the Pope own? Or like
nothing.
Personally, he owns nothing.
No, he doesn't even own the rings on his finger.
Zero.
Yeah. No, nothing.
So he'll die with nothing?
We all die with nothing, bro.
Oh, well done. The popes, some of the old popes used to have kids.
Like Houston, what's his name? Houston from Hillsong.
Yeah.
They're like asset rich personally.
Yes.
Yeah, and so they managed to take a fair bit out of
And if you're wondering how you could also be part of that, there was that wonderful email that they sent out about the claiming of household expenditure, which is available on the Equity Mates website.
Sure.
It's not.
Have you read the Hillsong?
This is the one that most of the court cases are around, which is why I'm dancing a little bit. But an internal email that went round, an internal email that went round about how you can claim certain things to do with household expenditure, and it was written like the tax code. It was like PricewaterhouseCoopers levels. It was full on.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well-
and that is part of what I'm dancing around because that is in court.
Okay, well,
Okay,
everyone do
fair
their own
call.
Googling.
Yeah, do your own Googling and listen to 200 podcasts about it. Let me finish with 2 quotes. What about the parable of the rich man and Lazarus, which tells us that the parable sends the message that worldly and earthly possessions are of no benefit in the afterlife. Those who have suffered on earth will receive their reward in heaven. Okay? Or maybe we could go instead to the book of Luke 2:17. And Jesus said unto the faithful, go forth, get laid and get paid.
The end.
The end.
You have been listening to an Equity Mates Media production. In the spirit of reconciliation, Equity Mates Media acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. This podcast is intended for education and entertainment purposes. Any advice is general advice only and has not taken into account your personal financial circumstances, needs or objectives. Before acting on general advice, you should consider if it is relevant to your needs and read the relevant product disclosure statement. And if you're unsure, please speak to a financial professional. The hosts of this podcast and their guests may have positions in the companies mentioned. Equity Mates Media operates under an Australian Financial Services Licence 540697.